You are listening to From a Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast to be card-carrying members of the 2% Club since before it was recognized and made illegal by the Empire. How you like that?
I'd like it a lot.
I am one of the card-carrying members, Jason the Angry Ginger Jedi Guy, and I'm broadcasting live from inside my very own Wookiee Poo Studios. I'm not alone. There's someone I'm talking to. He's not a Force ghost. His name is Darth Matthews. We're going to chat. What up, man?
Nothing. I'm glad you mentioned the 2% because I was going to say that I'm just sitting here waiting for Bo-Katan to sit on my face.
Well, I wanted to add, like, if you are one of them gotta wear my helmets all the time, well, you're missing out on some fun.
Oh, my God. That was absolutely hysterical. She was on, what was the show called? The Big Thing or something?
Yeah.
She did a great interview. I actually downloaded the podcast because I want to listen to the whole thing. But that was so funny when she was talking about the people's reactions. I think the context of it was she was telling her husband how everybody hates me. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he goes online and checks and looks at all these like comments and stuff. And he's like, it's like two people. She's like, I know, everybody. Like she just focuses in on that. So then she was explaining kind of the breakdown.
Human nature right there.
How people feel about her and her performance and all that stuff. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Anyway, if you would like to find our show from a certain point askew.com, you can find us on Twitter at FACPApod. Please email the show. None of you did this week, but that's okay. You had an off week. It's okay. Last chance for that giveaway, but whatever.
I mean, they really did us really good last week, so yes. I'm gonna let it slide this week. I love everyone. I appreciate you. I'm in a good mood.
Well, and I think as we get into these episodes we're doing where we don't have, a show that came out that week, all the more reason to email in because that's a good time for us to really get deep into your emails and thoughts. And
yeah, we're depending on you, the listener, the FACPA listener.
So FACPApod@gmail.com. We are part of the Podawan Podcast Network, all two of us at Podawans on Twitter. Oh, we got another review I wanted to share.
Oh, okay.
This says, a great Star Wars show. Listen to this podcast with Matt and Jay if you want to learn all things Star Wars. And since this is the next best thing to 7 Days a Geek, but I guess we'll never hear that because of some hiatus crap. So yeah, there's that. Love you guys. Thanks for all the free awesome. Lady E.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like that's
an old poll right there.
Old poll. Haven't talked to that guy in forever. So
Holy shit.
That was pretty sweet. Thanks, Lady E.
Yeah. That makes me happy.
Yeah. So that's it. What's on the show this week?
On the show, we've got some news. Boba Fett. We're going to do the state of the Mandalorian. That's our meat and potatoes, our crate steak and potatoes. And then we have, we're going to wrap up the show giving away the Nerf Pulse Blaster rifle. And stay tuned until the end of the show is what you wrote in the note. So I kind of said that backwards, but,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, only one news item this week. We didn't have a question of the week because it was such a short turnaround time for us to record. So we just skipped that. But the news is, so at a recent Comic-Con in Australia, Cole's boy, Tamura Morrison, he did a Q&A and was asked some questions about Boba Fett and his future and all that. And he said he made some interesting comments.
I feel like Tamura Morrison wasn't aware like this was on microphone and or the internet exists.
Well,
so I want to know how many people from Lucasfilm got a hold of him instantly after this.
I think the problem is that I saw a little bit of the video of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's being cheeky for a good chunk of it. But when you read it as straight text, it sounds like he's very pissed off.
Yes.
But I don't think he really is. It actually, by the way, started this whole like bring Boba back hashtag on Twitter. And
it was
everybody's
all over Twitter today. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's getting real angry and bitter about how they're, treating him and all this kind of stuff. But I think I don't think he feels like he got fucked over. I think he was just kind of being kind of loose and having fun with it.
It's so funny because like the Star Wars, like the group, the lovers of Star Wars, like the second they start hating on something, whatever they hated on previously, they will defend to their death.
Right. So people might have not liked Book of Boba Fett and now they're like, how are you going to do him like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
He did have his own show. Anyway, a couple of quotes here. First is he said, quote, I was supposed to be in The Mandalorian season 3, but nobody rang me. I was waiting for the phone call in New Zealand, waiting and wanting to give up. Are you okay? Wanting to give up?
He's like a royal farm boy just hanging out, waiting for someone to get a hold of him.
Oh my God, that didn't sound good. I mean, we all thought he might show up, maybe on Tatooine or something, but he never did. And
yeah.
There must have been a reason for it. So.
Well, I mean, now that we've seen the season, there really wasn't any room for him.
No, just maybe in that episode where he visits Peli, but like, what's he going to do? Just bump into him on the street? Be like, oh, hey, what's up, man?
Mando.
In reference to his own show, he joked, the Book of Boba Fett, he joked, well, that Mando guy, this is funny. Well, that Mando guy stole a few chapters of my book. It was painful watching him turn up with some black new lethal sword, and the way he turned up in my book, Book of Boba.
Yeah.
He just destroyed everybody. I'm sure that guy is ruining my show, but I couldn't say anything. I'm not the writer, so I have to bear it, I guess. Now, that's the one I think people read and were like, oh, man, he's mad. Again, I didn't see the video of this one, but I think he's kind of taking the piss a little bit. So
he showed up in Mandalorian and fucking owned that episode. So
right. I don't think he's as hurt as he's playing here. I think it's just kind of for fun. He also talked about kind of where things were with Disney and Disney Plus in general. And he was saying, I think there's a few changes going on. We all come under the big umbrella known as Disney now. So it's one of the last few conversations we had in LA. The conversation started like, oh, look, we're having a few changes. We're having a few cutbacks. And when you hear that at the other end of the line, it's no good trying to negotiate any more money. That's for sure. So we'll see what happens. He's literally laughing as he's saying this, like grinning. So yeah, Iger, as we talked about before, had mentioned some cutbacks, but it was to the kind of the non-flagship entities.
Right.
So I don't think it necessarily applies to Star Wars, but
with the way people are watching, and I think we've talked before, the numbers on the Book of Boba Fett were really damn good. So
were they?
I wouldn't see why they wouldn't do another one. I know. Did we discuss it that I don't know if it was fact or not, but there was rumors in the trades that one of the cutbacks was Lucasfilm was told no more. They have to focus on Star Wars, so they were prepping like an Indiana Jones like spin-off prequel series.
Right. Yes.
And it sounds like that's not happening now.
I think that got tabled. Yeah. They want them to focus in on the big dog. So, I mean, I think that could be interesting doing an Indiana Jones show, but I don't know. You really got to get the right person.
Agreed. Yeah.
Alton Ehrenreich. How great would
what
that
about
be?
him?
They get him for the Indiana Jones series.
Oh my God. That would be awesome.
Everybody would go nuts. What?
Yes.
Oh, that'd be funny. And then finally, he also made some comments, and I don't know if this was in the Q&A or separately, but he was talking about how he would like to see Rex get his own live action show. I don't know that I see that happening. However, I mean, I'm kind of guessing he's going to show up in Ahsoka. We just don't know that yet.
Right. And maybe that was like his little tease, like just putting it out there. Because I don't see Rex getting his own show, but I think they should put him in live action.
Yeah, I think so. And it's as much as they are clones of all the same person, it's a different personality. You know, Rex is definitely different than Boba Fett. What we saw with Boba Fett.
Oh, so. I'm curious how they're gonna do the big white beard with his big white teeth.
He'll blend right in.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll darken his teeth a little bit.
It'll kind of be like, you ever see those programs where like someone shows up to a show or whatever they're shooting and there's a green screen and they've got a green dress on? They're like, oh
yes,
no.
Right. Yeah. Oops. Like, why would you do that? It happened. I remember I saw it one time with like a gal doing the weather. It's like, you cannot do it there. That's the worst place to do it.
Yeah.
The map is on your body. All right.
It's a treasure map. Oh.
I wouldn't be too upset about the situation, as I said, because I think that he's kind of joking around a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see if he's really hurt.
Like
but I don't think so. I think he's just fucking around. Okay, Mandalorian. So last week we broke down the finale and talked a little bit at the end about what we think might happen next. But I wanted to kind of dig deeper on that, do a little bit more of a kind of a look back on season 3, discuss kind of what's coming next for the Dins, and and maybe what and who we'll see in season 4 eventually.
For the Dins.
The Dins. Well, that's what they are.
Yep.
It's the Dins.
Dems the Dins.
I'm still a little confused by that, but that's okay. First of all, I had written down favorite episode, characters, and storylines. So as far as episodes go, do you have one that stood out for you this season that was kind of your favorite? I'm sure it's Guns for Hire. That's the Jack Black episode.
You want me to shut the fucking Skype off right now? I'll walk out of here.
We are going to cover least favorite, so we can get to that next.
Yes.
But
yeah,
yes,
you should see
episode.
what I wrote in the notes. My favorite episode, the one that stands out really is the pirate. Mm-hmm. I really liked that episode. I liked the aerial combat. I like seeing fucking Salad the Hutt or whatever his name was getting his. That whole episode really worked for me. That's also, is that the same episode where the big hand little guys are working on IG-11?
The Anzellans? The Anzellans, no, that's like the first or second episode.
First or second, yeah.
I think it's the first episode. Yeah, I actually thought you might say the Spies, because I think that's a great episode too. But that was my pick, was the Pirates. Okay. I thought that was their best episode. I mean, you get to see Zeb, which was like kind of probably the biggest oh shit moment in the whole fucking season, But you get the cool battle scenes on the ground and in the air, like you said. Really cool stuff. You get that awesome scene with the armor coming in and whooping
just
everybody's
whooping
ass.
shit in fucking homeboy's office.
Yeah.
Just, this is my patio.
Get off. So,
Yeah.
well, I think the other thing that's nice too is you get a little bit of a kind of a teaser cliffhanger there at the end because Teva finds that ship that had Moff Gideon on it. So you're like, what the hell does this mean?
Right.
So is this kind of
Yeah.
like builds up the intensity and excitement for next week as well. So I don't know. All told, I thought that was the best episode, which I think was that, what's his name? Ramsey? Peter
Yes,
Ramsey?
it was.
He did a great episode. I love
He
it.
did.
What about characters? Who are your favorite characters that we saw? It doesn't have to be new, but I was thinking kind of more along the lines of new characters.
What do I got down for characters? I've got I liked, what's his fucking name? I call him Salad the Hutt, and I'm so stuck on that.
Gorian Shard.
Gorian Shard. Yeah, every time I nickname somebody, I stick with it. My brain goes dead. I liked the idea of that character. I like the pirates. I want to see more of that. I think we're supposed to see more of that in the Skeleton Crew.
Yes.
It was cool that they brought the little guys with the big hands back.
And Zalans. Yep.
That's what I said.
Yep.
Who else? Man, you know what I really missed was Pelimoto. We only got to see her in the first episode, right?
Yeah.
And that was sort of, hey babe, that was sort of all we saw of her, and that was missed.
Did Pelly just walk in the room? We didn't get to see Pelly. Hey, babe.
Mon Mothma did.
There you go.
I have to go.
I'll be right back. Just pause. Let it run. Let the thing
3%.
Oh, God. Yeah, I think like there were a lot of smaller characters or even kind of grew into bigger characters, but like I loved seeing the Shadow Council thing and seeing Captain Paleon and Brendel Hux. That was cool because those are things that, read about. I loved how R5 got his moment after kind of what happened, how he was portrayed in A New Hope. He was kind of his big moment.
That character really got, I think he shined more than anybody else in the season for being the fuckface that breaks down in the first movie to all of a sudden now he's like, he's got rocket boosters. He's breaking into systems. He's going, he's the first man down into Mandalore. Like he's everywhere.
He's conquering his fears.
Yeah, it really.
I also like that we got more of Carson Teva and also of Elia Kane. I thought that was cool the way they fleshed their characters out a little bit.
Yes.
Those were two that were fun to watch. And then also last one I was thinking of was also that cyborg creature. That thing was creepy as fuck. The thing that captures Din in like the second episode that Bo has to save him from.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That thing was pretty badass. I was
hoping we'd see more of them when the Mandalorians went down in there. Like, maybe they gotta, before they get to the frickin' furnace and turn on the gas and let's see if this thing works. You'd think there'd be a couple of those things running around there.
Or at least hanging out in the furnace. They just burn up the second you fire that thing back up.
Yeah. They come running out like cockroaches.
Storylines. I talked about Elia Kane. I thought I really dug that episode where they kind of let her and Dr. Pershing kind of run around. I granted in the end, I guess it ends up kind of leading to a throwaway line by Gideon about him being captured by the New Republic. However, it gives you a lot of backstory on him and on her, and especially on that whole amnesty program. And also Coruscant. It's just like seeing all these different things that we haven't seen before. So I really, as much as everybody was kind of like, what is the purpose of this? I still thought it was pretty cool, that whole episode.
I really think the purpose of it was to show how far along in the cloning process he was and what he wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
And then why not build some character moments around there? And then Elia Kane, we see her and she's actually playing both sides, and then we see her again in the alley later on and she's talking to Moff, so we get some story there. But yeah, I really enjoyed that episode. It's kind of sad to see Pershing's going to be gone because he's kind of, you get a little bit more of him every season, and then he gets this whole episode, and as far as we know, he might be alive, but he's drooling a lot.
Yeah, he's not doing well at this time.
Yeah.
I was going to ask that later when we get to what's next. I was going to say, where is he these days? I thought it was cool the way they're showing what they did with the captured Imperials, like how they're treating these people and how the new, it's just a function. It's a piece of what the New Republic's doing. They're obviously having a hell of a time controlling the galaxy, in a way that they want, but also this is kind of how they've dealt with these essentially prisoners of war.
I think they're handling it better than they did in the prequels with the politics too, because it was kind of like, oh God, but it's a little bit more with the espionage and the cat and mouse and all that. It's a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, true. And then the other storyline that popped out to me was the Grogu Order 66 deal.
Yes.
Finding out how he got saved, having a nice little redemption for Ahmed Best and that character Kelleran Beck. Those were kind of the two that stood out to me. Were there any other ones that you kind of Doug from season 3.
I like the surprise of bringing IG-11 back, and it seems like it didn't work out, and then it does. You know, he becomes IG-12, but the whole, you know, he's trying to kill Grogu when they first bring him back, and then he ends up his fucking super Krang suit, all of that, and then by the end he's the Marshal. So there's some cool beats there that I really liked, and the like you said, the Grogu's flashback. I hope they keep picking at that thread, moving us along through his time, or at least to the point. I guess it's been quite a few years where Mando finally finds him, but you know, how did he end up saved to being, you know, hiding and guarded by all these freaking people in this place, and Moff. I mean, by then, has he gotten the blood before, or was it just the time he lost when he brought him in? Right.
I think it was when he brought him in that first time. And so, there's 25 years of Grogu's life that's unaccounted for. You know, we don't know what happened there.
We need a Grogu prequel series.
It might happen. We've seen a lot of people now and how they've experienced Order 66. They've done it several times now. They did it with the Bad Batch.
Yes.
You know, so we saw what happened to like
Kenobi
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Kenobi. So I don't know who else would be left on that list that they need to show in their experience of it, but it's always cool seeing how that order affected every single person.
Right. Yeah. The other one I have is just the character growth for Bo.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people complain like it's her show, like The Mandalorian, but from seeing her from the animated to the importance of the Darksaber, and then, you know, bringing the people together, I still have my disgruntlement with the armorer, whether that was supposed to be like a red herring or something, but some of that doesn't add up because she's so strict about the fucking helmet and everything. And then Bo's had it on like 4 days and she's like, take it off. You walk between both worlds. Since when were you okay with that?
You still think she's a spy? Hold on to that theory.
Okay.
All right. Least favorite, not to be negative, but I mean, is there even another option for least favorite episode?
No. I don't even remember the name of the episode, and I don't want to. I don't remember any. It's like a fucking fever dream. I'm sick of this. It was like it's a nightmare. Jack Black is having nightmares about it.
There were parts of it I liked. I did try to kind of talk you down a little bit off of it. I mean, I thought the droid bar was kind of cool. Some of the detective mode stuff was kind of cool. The Ugnaughts, etc. But oh my god, I mean, Jack Black and Lizzo, it was a struggle, and it was really more Jack Black. I mean, Lizzo was fine. Jack Black was really, really tough. Christopher Lloyd was fine, but like you said, he just really felt like he had one foot in the grave.
Old. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, all of a sudden, hey, we're going to go on a mission and we're going to leave Grogu with royalty. He's okay with that. You know, it's just kind of strange.
And the resolution in the end, very Scooby-Doo-esque, like you said. It's just, he was kind of like, shucks, you got me. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you get a key to the city.
Yeah, it was a very strange episode. I'm not sure what was going on there. And we have a lot of confidence in Bryce Dallas Howard, so I'm not putting it on her necessarily, but it was a strange episode. Characters, again, Jack Black and Lizzo. And again...
And Doc Brown.
Christopher Lloyd, yes. He just... the whole thing was tough. I mean... Continuing on with how much I struggle with that episode, the fact that you at one point, and I'm not talking bricks and screws here. I'm just saying when you see two Mandalorians playing football in a field, it's kind of a little bit off-putting. It's like, oh, really? Come on, tossing the pigskin around.
We spent our whole budget on creating the CGI city, so you guys are just in the field hanging out.
Yeah. That was tough. That whole storyline was tough. Well, storylines. Like, what else? I mean, the only other thing that storyline wise that I was just kind of struggling with a bit was the whole foundling chickens thing, and that was so silly.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why they did that.
Yeah, looking back on that, they did spend quite a lot of time, like, with the whole cave and the people and the. What did we get out of that? Other than they were kind of hiding, but like we knew that anyways. Like, we don't give a shit that someone was kidnapped. Well, I mean, you needed that in order for like the redemption between Paz and Mando, right? But I feel like that could have been done on a mission or something.
I mean, you got a couple things out of it. You got them bonding, and you also got more development for Bo-Katan and kind of seeing how to operate around these people. Mm-hmm. You know, right down to how the fuck do you eat? So.
Well, true, yeah, because she kind of showed some leadership there when she took them out in the party, and then exactly. You got to separate, and everyone's got to hide and hurry up and feed themselves before someone sees you.
I know. Scarf it down.
Yeah.
And I know you said you like Gorian Shard. I the idea of the character I thought was good. He just looks so goofy. That I struggled with that.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, it was like I think you could have done that in a more menacing way. He just looked like you'd almost walk into a room and see that and be like, "Are you fucking kidding?"
But it did kind of fit like Lucas's Star Wars thing, right? Because
Yeah,
every once in a while you're like real into the realism of it, and then you get like this cartoon character.
Yeah, right.
And so that it didn't take me out, but he could like the way they made Zed look so real, but this guy clearly just looked like he was CGI.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And I think what it is it was the bright light, like the way the ship was lit up from the windows everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there was just something about it that, and I think that's the same thing like that whole world with Jack Black and Lizzo. Like there's something about Star Wars and in its setting, and sometimes it just is weird when it's just like normal daylight and whatever, and you're just walking around like, yeah, I mean, you need some cinematography or something for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about, did you have anything else for the least favorite stuff?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, top 3 moments. Top 3 moments of the season. Do you have a few you want to throw out?
I got Bo and Mando versus the TIE fighters.
Yes,
like when
absolutely.
she rescues them, they come back down, like that whole thing, like them bombing her fucking home, and then him getting to his ship and taking off right away. That whole thing was badass. I've got Grogu getting saved by Order 66. That was just or during Order 66, awesome. And then finding out the mythosaur is real. That was pretty cool. Unexpected.
You and I are almost totally aligned.
Really?
I had written down Grogu Order 66, Bo, Din fighting the TIE interceptors, and then the bombers destroying her castle. And then I had the extension of what you said. Din bathing in the waters, Bo diving down to save him, then shooting up and going right by the eye that opens up, and it's like, oh shit, it's a mythosaur. Yeah, those were kind of my big moments. So we're right in line.
And the Darksaber getting destroyed. The more I think about it, I think that was it was a must.
It was. I know some people are disappointed in it because it was built up as this huge, thing for so long and so many years and so many series, etc. But it needed to go.
All of our speculation of Grogu being like the next Mandalorian Jedi with the Darksaber, like all that shit's out the window. But it as long as it's just like the hilt, right? If the gem, the stone, or however it works, I don't know. I'm not quite sure if it's a kyber crystal thing.
I think it is a kyber crystal, but but the thing is, it's like I don't know that you need to resurrect it. It, like we talked about last week, it's a fucking curse, and it always has been. It's been like this, this just thing that's hung around, that's kind of dictated who, and really been the root cause of all the civil wars.
Yes,
it's them trying to gain control of the entire planet or system.
Yep.
So take that out, and now you're just going based on who's the best leader, and it's Bo. And by the way, I think it might have been on that podcast she was on where she talked about people wanting her to sit on her face or sit on their face. She said that the scene where she's inspiring the Mandalorians to like go retake Mandalore was actually a longer scene.
It's like a William Wallace type speech.
Yeah, she said I had a William Wallace kind of moment. She said it was really like this big inspiring scene. She's like, I'm not sure why they cut it down. It's interesting too, because it's like, Favloni, can you stop cutting stuff down? I mean, sure, Guns for Hire, you could cut down that episode. But the rest, it's like, there's a lot more. There are certain times where it feels like they're moving along pretty quickly. Yeah. Like we talked about we think that some storyline is going to be like, oh, they're going to play that out for a bit. It's like, nope, resolved right away.
Yeah.
So I go ahead and let it marinate a little bit. Like, let us sit with it a little bit.
Like, I'm all for like editing and getting a good pace for it.
Of course.
Sometimes it's important to slow down and get that story structure, those beats. And I'm not quite sure, like even she says, like, was it her in the interview? She's like, these episodes, they don't have to be cut down to a certain length.
No.
They can be whatever they need to be. So I think that's a pretty important scene to shine. It would have, because it was almost like, okay, they're just going to follow her. I think it would have added quite a bit of weight.
I think so. So I'm not sure why they cut it down, but it's interesting to hear, like Filoni was talking recently about the Ahsoka series, and he was saying how his episodes are, he made some mention about how he and Favreau like try to cut down, episodes a bit just so that the pacing's better and it moves along faster. But he said all the Ahsoka episodes are really long. Like he said to cut them down a little bit, but he said they're noticeably longer than the Mandalorian episodes. We'll see if that sticks. But I'm like, good. Let's let this shit run. I don't know. I'd rather they do that.
That trailer has got me hyped. Like you and Andor. Like I'm all about this show.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Next up, I had, how did season 3 stack up against the previous 2?
Okay, I got a little shock for you here.
Okay.
I think the Book of Boba Fett was better
than this season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there were some strong moments in this season, but like even the gripe with some of the slow stuff or the unexpected like story development for Book of Boba Fett, I think took some people out of it, but I really liked some of the things they did with them. I thought bringing Cad Bane in was awesome. The shit with Grogu, and I know you've got that coming up, so I guess we could talk about that a little bit in the next one, but them filling that hole and the story looping through, I mean, Boba showed up in The Mandalorian, was badass, and then Mando showing up being badass, and then the 7th episode is both of them, so like really Mando had one episode, right? And just seeing like that whole shootout scene was badass. Like there was some like looking back, we got the Jabba twins, those the cousins, whoever the fuck they were.
I forgot about that.
Black Chrysanthemum, right? We got there was what in Cad Bane, but I mean there was some really fucking cool shit in that show.
Yeah, you got the whole Deep Tusken storyline, which I thought was good, and then you had that train sequence was fucking awesome.
Right,
I thought that was really great. So there were a lot of good things in Book of Boba. There were just some things that I think really clouded it. The mod squad and their goofy vehicles and their silly guns were just like, wow, I feel like we could have done a lot better here.
Yeah, I don't know if that was like a rush job. It almost to me was like the mod squad has to exist, right, in order to explain Fennec Shand and also what they do later on with
Cobb.
Yeah, Cobb Banth. So yeah, what was the question? The question
what about
was,
seasons 1 and 2? I was saying, how does this compare to all the seasons? I was thinking seasons 1 and 2. Book of Boba technically is kind of a season of Mandalorian, but how do you think season 3 stacks up against 1 and 2?
I mean, I don't think season 3 is awful. I think it has the worst episode out of all of them.
Yeah,
is fucking
Guns
that one that we don't talk. It's the fucking Voldemort of the Mandalorian universe. But it's not a bad season. Like you got all the development you wanted, and now we're where are we going after this? So like there's like we talked about, it's like a completed story now. So I like we're going into something completely new. But I mean, we had the shocker of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, so I was looking at seasons 1 and 2, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, the first season ends with a ton of huge stuff. Like Quill dies, which I think is one of the most powerful deaths that we've had in this whole series.
IG-11 kicking ass.
IG-11 goes ballistic. Yeah, Grogu uses the Force and the flamethrower guy, which leads to what we see in the season 3 finale. Din takes off his helmet for the first time.
Yep.
The armor fucking destroying stormtroopers with their
Darksaber reveal.
And then the Darksaber reveal. Like that was the first moment of like, oh my God, like that last scene you see.
Uh-huh.
Then taking into season 2, which is all the heavy hitters. It's like Bo, Ahsoka. You see Cobb Vanth returns or shows up, excuse me. And then you get the Thrawn reference. And then, of course, you end with the Luke Skywalker moment, which blew everybody away. So both those seasons had these like holy huge oh shit moments at the end and had all these characters showing up along the way. I just felt like season 3, as much as I did enjoy it, did not have the like jaw-dropping moments as much as the first 2 seasons.
Right. There wasn't like a huge shock and awe, right?
Yeah, well, and I think we talked about it when season 2 happened and wrapped up. We were like, how do you follow this up?
You and I'm not expecting that to happen, right? But when you look at like even Mandalorian, you don't expect Luke Skywalker to show up again, let alone see Luke and Ahsoka in the same scene.
Yeah, right. Book of Boba,
and then training Grogu, all that stuff, and that's all in Book of Boba Fett. So like holy shit! And then this one, like I like the Mandalorian. I mean I think the last episode, and we'll talk about that in a sec. That's one of my things was that whole aerial fight, all that shit with them flying around was amazing.
Yep, it was. You just alluded to it earlier. Was it a mistake to reunite Din and Grogu in Book of Boba? And not just from doing it in another show, but also not letting them be separated for longer. So that like part of season 3 or whatever would have been Din, them operating independently more so than just that little bit and then coming back together. Do you think that was a mistake?
I don't. I mean, I think it would have worked if they would have put you had to. I see what he's doing. Like as you're trying to connect all of these shows and let them live within the same worlds, right? So it was kind of weird. Like Mando got his own episode, and then we picked back up with the Boba Fett thing. But we had to get Mandalorian. We had to fill in the Grogu thing, plus get him to Boba Fett, right? And then we get all of that. So I mean, I think it all works, but you have to. I guess you just have to be on the what side are you on? Are you accepting like these characters are going to show up wherever and Favreau's just going to be like this chapter takes place here and whatever, or are you going to be like no, they all have to be in their own shows? I think it allowed season 3 to kind of pick up and go.
Yeah, I mean, I can see. I think you could have done all the Grogu stuff in season 3 of The Mandalorian if you wanted to. I don't. Yes. I think the Mandalorian showing up and helping Boba on Tatooine, that all made a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Grogu didn't necessarily need to show up to that. I'm not saying it's a mistake. I'm just saying he didn't have to, because in the end he tames the Rancor or whatever with the Force.
Right.
But he doesn't do a whole lot else other than them showing him training with Luke. But again, you could have shown that in season 3 of The Mandalorian.
You could have, yeah. I think the point of showing the Rancor really was to show that, was that the second time he does something to a creature? So, and then by the end of this season, we see him mentally finger fuck the fucking mythosaur. So
was he finger fucking the mythosaur? I don't think I missed that part. I thought
4%.
I thought he was just giving him the stare, like, I see you.
Yeah, I see you. I see you naked in the waters.
You're massive and I'm small, but
what you doing in my waters?
And then I think also the other reason why they probably did it the way they did it was because they really wanted season 3 to be all about taking back Mandalore, the return of Mandalore, etc. Right. So they needed to get beyond those things to move on to this plot. And I could see that. Although maybe you could have had the Luke Grogu training in episode 1 or 2, skip your Guns for Hire episode, and we would have been fine.
Yes. Yes. Do you think that maybe, now that we look back, because the firing, Cara Dune didn't do the Rangers of the Old Republic, right?
Yeah.
So the stuff that's threaded, maybe they automatically decided to start tying stuff into the Book of Boba Fett and picking up because couldn't do what they were going to do.
They might have had to, adjust there on the fly.
Because I was thinking today, I'm wondering if Bando deciding to go to, what's his name?
Teva? Captain Teva?
Teva, yeah. Going to Captain Teva. TiVo.
I can't make the pop sound.
For him going to that, I wonder if that was a thread, like this is how we can pick up the other stories in the Republic.
Yeah,
right?
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last question I had kind of for season 3 and anything else you want to talk about on it is just, if we were given the full scripts for season 3 in advance, is there anything you would have changed? We've kind of talked a little bit about some of the stuff, but is there anything you would have changed with season 3 other than obviously not playing that episode?
Don't take that away from me.
Okay, go ahead. How about it?
I wouldn't play that episode. Well, there were two things would have happened. I'd have burned the fucking script, right? But if they would have made it, I'd have taken a fucking page out of Zaslav's fucking book over at Warner Brothers and vaulted that episode.
Right.
Give it the Batgirl treatment. Like, no one needs to see this.
Yeah. I think for me, I would have probably tried to maybe include more. That's really a definitive statement. I would have maybe would have tried to include more old school Mandalorians. Like, I really thought we might see Fenn Rau or somebody like that. I mean, I thought Sabine too, but I guess it makes sense for them to save her for the Ahsoka series. They wanted to kind of show it there. But I'm just thinking, like, taking back Mandalore is a huge deal to a lot of people and a lot of Mandalorians. Obviously, Sabine is so focused on getting Ezra back that's kind of her primary focus right now. But there's some other people that I think could have shown up. So I was kind of surprised they didn't maybe bring in a little bit more Mandalorian star power.
Yeah, but I think that gives them a chance to bring those characters in now, as they're bringing Mandalore back together, or maybe someone's going to, challenge her rulership, so there's things that can add a little bit of drama moving forward, because it's not going to be all peace talks and banging hammers, oh my God, we're back. Let's turn this glass back into buildings.
Yeah, it's just a construction project. It's home. It's one of those home improvement shows. It's an HGTV Mandalore.
Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if they announce a series.
For what?
For the Mandalorians, like
its own series?
Other than the Mandalorian, but like Bo-Katan and the world of Mandalore, like all that story stuff can continue in its own series, so it doesn't have to be threaded through his show, which would then, because I'm sure we're going to see more of that leading into the movie or other events, but I think,
that makes sense.
Right now, we'll just keep making shows. I mean, we talked about this years ago, and I was like, no, they don't need to keep making all these shows. Like, no one wants to see, and now, I want to see all of it. I mean, for all my gripes of the one episode, I mean, out of the 3 seasons of Mandalorian and Boba Fett, like, there's really one trash episode for me.
Well, and I could see them saving some of these characters for later, like you said, so that they have those big moments later on. I could see that. It would be funny, though, if somebody shows up and is like, I see we've retaken Mandalore, Bo-Katan. I challenge you for the Darksaber. And she's like, It gone. Sorry.
Like all 8 episodes, every week, someone new shows up to challenge.
No, there's no Darksaber, man. Sorry, you lost.
I think some of the things I would have changed was, I would have added a maybe button to IG-11. And then, no, really, though, I would have liked to have either at least had Zed's name called out or something more with the character.
With Zeb, you said?
Zeb, yeah.
Yeah. Right. I think it was a wink to people who know who he is. And we're going to see him, obviously, in Ahsoka. But I think it was meant to just be like a little bit of a pulse raiser for the people who know who that character is.
Right,
So they're like,
exactly.
Oh, shit, that's him.
Hey, that's Zeb.
Yeah, I didn't need to say it necessarily. The other thing I thought is, and we kind of speculated this going into the finale, is would they possibly do some sort of cliffhanger to torture us so that while we're waiting for season 4,
yes.
They kind of wrapped it up. And so I wondered if they could have done something like that. I don't know if that would have been Gideon getting away or something with Din being captured or whatever whatever the case may have been, or maybe more another significant loss or betrayal, something like that would have led you to be like, oh shit, now what's going to happen in season 4? Whereas now it's just this wide open thing. By the way, I saw another story on this. And again, I don't know if this is from her interview, but apparently Axe Woves was supposed to die a long time ago.
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah.
He was supposed to die in the Eris episode, her first episode.
Yeah.
The scene when they're on the ship and Mando just charges at those stormtroopers and is taking shots left and right and then chucks the grenade in there or whatever.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be Axe and he was supposed to die doing it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. And so that's why he's not in the next scene, because literally he was supposed to be dead. And so, and I mean, maybe that's also why he doesn't show up in that scene where they go find her at that bar when it's him and Boba, might be the same reason. So, but all told, I mean, it took me a while and a second we rewatched and all that stuff to get to a point where I understood why they didn't leave us on this cliff. They just kind of wanted to leave it more open. But that was kind of I think you could have done that still in a way.
Well, I agree. I mean, I see why they didn't, right? Because they kind of just closed the book.
Yep.
But like a really nice ending. Like he's chilling on the porch, drinking lemonade, kids playing with frogs. So, but they could have done like the Marvel end credit sequence to something for Ahsoka. Like we had thought like, maybe Thrawn would show up in just a little fucking stinger, and I'd have been all right with that.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen for sure.
Or what they should have done was just show Fennec Shan and Boba Fett go into someone else's fucking throne room or whatever and fucking kill them and just sit down and she takes a drink. Like every season just ends with that.
They're taking another one.
Yep.
Kind of looking ahead to season 4 a little bit. I kind of put an item in there saying, where will it pick up? So a lot of this, of course, depends on their inclusion or not in other shows. Because I mean, I think we fully expect them to show up at some point in Ahsoka somehow. But I don't know about Skeleton Crew. Regardless of that, excluded from that, like I could see them jumping forward quite a bit of time, whether that's a year, 2 years, or what. But they've got to have, like, I could honestly see the cold open of season 4 being Din is off doing some job, and then Grogu comes in, and you see that they're working it together as partners, like on a bounty hunter mission, something like that, to kind of catch you up.
I'm looking at it like they had dealt with Groot in the Marvel movies. Every time he shows up, he's a little bit older. You got like Teen Angst, the video game Groot, and then you got like I want to see a little bit older, more capable Groot.
Yeah,
helping him out. Like a couple years go by or whatever, and they could use like the gap of Ahsoka and the events that happen there. And if he does show up, maybe you kind of get a little bit of Grogu's changed a bit. And then when we pick up again, it's been another year or something like that. Because what do we got? A 13-year gap to fill here?
Something, maybe even more.
Yeah.
So I would imagine there'll be a jump. There has to be. How much time when it picks up do you think we're going to spend kind of watching them doing that bounty hunting stuff? Like, is it literally going to be we just catch them at the beginning to kind of catch you up, and then it's like, okay, new thing comes in and we're moving on to the next adventure? Or do you think we're actually going to get a little episodic treatment of them early on in season 4 to get more of a taste of what they're doing?
I'm thinking half and half. I'm thinking, well, maybe the first episode we're going to get like that episodic, them running and gunning, doing whatever. Yeah. And then maybe fucking homeboy TiVo, that's what we're calling him from now on.
Sure.
He shows up and he's got like a real, like, oh my God, this is happening. We need your help here. We're going to send you there. Episode 2 picks up. That's where they're going. And then, it's mission of the week with purpose.
I could see it what you're saying. Like the first episode is a lot of catch up stuff with like a teaser of something else going on somewhere else that they're not aware of. Mm-hmm. And then when he sends them out for that job in episode 2, there's like a wait, what? This is tied to something bigger, and the next thing you know, we're off on that kind of.
Now, here's something. Do you think they're only going to work with if we see some backstory for Grogu and the Jedi stuff, but do you think moving forward he's going to want to look into the Jedi stuff, or is it just Mandalorian?
As far as wanting to push the Grogu Jedi,
yes,
you're saying that? I don't know. I mean, they have to continue to explore it to some degree.
Well, he's using the powers and he's getting stronger. So I agree. I just don't know. I mean, we've done a bunch of guessing, like, oh, this is going to happen, or he's going to be the next Mandalorian Jedi, like all this stuff, and it doesn't seem like they really want to pull on that thread anymore.
I think I think they will lean more into the Mandalorian side of his life, but he'll still be taking like University of Phoenix online Jedi classes.
Okay. I'm wondering if maybe he'll start showing like some signs of dark side. Maybe us as viewers are picking up on it, and then something happens in the show, and around the same time they run into a Jedi who sees something and like, oh, we need to get this guy back on the, we got to change schools here.
Right. Yeah, because we saw it a little bit when he was force choking Cara Dune.
Yeah.
So he he's got it in him.
Flinging around stormtroopers when
Moff Gideon came in the room. Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
It's been a long day, so the brain is shutting down.
You're doing your best. Well, speaking of Moff Gideon, is he really dead?
No.
Okay. Do you want to give us your Snoke theory?
Oh, God. I was thinking about this, and of course it was bullshit, right? And then you got to be like, okay, so the theory was, and this was just me pitching it to you, like, oh, this, and this. I was trying to connect a bunch of dots.
It was a long DM. Yes, a very long DM.
But the gist of it is what was it? He burns underneath it's hot, but the fire doesn't get to him, so he gets a little bit of scar tissue. How they do the cloning process and have to do it from the adult version, so he's all burnt. But I was trying to connect it to Snoke, right? Because we don't know. We know Snoke is just. We don't know if he's like a particular race or anything. As far as I know, I've not read like all the comic books. I know there's backstory and stuff.
There probably is stuff that we don't know, and somebody's probably screaming. But to my understanding, we don't really know what he's cloned from and what his original character looked like, or if that is what they look like, or if he's just an absolutely torched version of that.
Well. And then I was like, to go back on everything, I started thinking about today because I was looking at the notes and I was like, oh yeah, I got to fucking bring all this shit up and everyone's going to be like bricks and screws on me, which is, I'm fully aware that I'm just making shit up. But, you're taking a guy who's clearly not a peachy colored person and turning him into Snoke. There's probably a lot of people that's going to argue about that. So I was like, well, the burn and the cloning, something like that could have something to do with it. But also, like, I think really why Snoke is the way he is, because if you look at him, like, there's more than just the fucking split down the freaking cranium, the top of the head. He's got like that sunken cheek in his throat. Like, he's got a lot of fucking tuberculosis and emphysema throat going on there, But I think when Palpatine tries to connect, right? Isn't his force power so strong? That's one of the reasons why they couldn't get the cloning to work, because he would just kill the body right away.
Is that what it was? I can't remember.
I don't think the host body was strong enough for Palp's symbiote force. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, I gotcha.
I think that kind of sucked him drier than a prune.
But it was enough. He held on. He was the one that held on, even though he looks like he's got exposure to radiation or something. But in the end, he's like, he still survived and he's got the power. He just looks like shit.
But no, I don't want to see Moff Gideon dead, because he is a good villain.
I think so too. And I mean, a lot of people were coming up with all these theories about, was that his clone, not him? There's the whole, as I've referred to them, Team Mustache.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I don't quite get, because it's like when he's having the Shadow Council meeting, and when he's talking to Elia, it's no mustache. So are you telling me that his clone is the one running the show, the whole time, not him, but then just sending his clone in?
Well, I mean, no one would know, right? So, like, he's running the show, but, he's got fucking Skype calls, Zoom calls going on every morning and night, checking in. Okay, this is what I said to him. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, it could be.
And he's just running that base, because if this Moff is, like, he's a megalomaniac, right? He wants to be involved. He wants to be doing everything, but he also doesn't want to die, because if he dies, then he can't keep going on. Play. So he's got his clones doing his dirty work, and he's sitting back. He's probably getting fat right now in one of those floating Wall-E chairs.
He's hanging out with the
living the dream somewhere. Yeah.
Well, I thought, what if it is a clone, and it's more actually like a puppet of Thrawn? And Thrawn is actually watching this council like it's kind of like creating it as a ruse. Like, see, he's battling and saying, I'm not worth shit. So that throws you off the scent that this is actually my clone. It's a dumb theory.
Okay. So you think Moff Gideon is Thrawn Snoke?
Correct.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
Why not?
All right. Dr. Pershing, you say is dead, or is he a vegetable?
I don't think there's really any purpose to keep him around.
Well, I'll say this. I'll raise this point. Your gal Binks, a.k.a. Bix.
You said it right the first time.
She got her mind fried by all that torture that she was getting on Ferrix. Like she is like a shell of herself. In season 2, it looks like she's kind of got it back together. Like she's gone through therapy.
Oh, yeah.
She
brushed her hair. Yeah, she's good.
So maybe Pershing is able to be somehow brought back from this horrendous place that he was put in with the Mind Flayer. Mind Flayer? No, that's maybe, Stranger Things.
One
What's
of the
called?
first missions, Mind Flayer. Yeah, because it's isn't the same name as the Upside Down
It is
creature?
The same name?
I think so. It's a Mind
Shit,
Flayer.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, something close to that, yeah. Maybe Grogu ends up on Coruscant and they run into him and he just like gives him that Vulcan neck pinch and he's like, oh my God, you're healed.
Oh, there you go. There's a redemption arc.
Yeah. I think the Pershing's death, we got the information we needed from him, but then it showed like how sinister Elia Kane is.
Yes. Yeah. We're not done with her.
Elijah Kane, we're going to call her.
Okay. I was going to say, you can't nail it perfectly. That's not you.
But you didn't notice I was calling, now I'm going to say his name wrong because I said it wrong so many times. Zep. Nope.
You were saying Zed. I that's why I asked you a question and said, you mean you're talking about Zeb?
Yeah, but I said it, and then after I said Zep, like you weren't. I was laughing over here, but you're not catching on.
I missed it. Sorry, our connection's weak. Who will be the big bad going forward? Is it going to be Thrawn? Is it going to be somebody else? If it's not Gideon.
I think Thrawn's going to be the big bad, but like, why can't you have like each character has their own villain, right? So that's kind of like the Moff Gideon kind of works for the Mandalorians, and I don't know. I still think there's something to do with the helmet and the fucking horns and the armorer and all that. Like there seems to be like
still some tie there.
Yeah, there's a little something they're threading out for like season 17.
I mean, it certainly is interesting to show a Mandalorian in Beskar armor flying into outer space and surviving the elements of outer space in Axe Woves.
Mm-hmm.
And then a guy in Moff Gideon getting torched with flames for maybe a minute.
Right.
Why couldn't he survive that?
Yeah.
So I still think he's around. I think I'm starting to come around that I think he's still around.
Okay. All right.
I think he might.
And like out of all the Mandalorians we've run into now, helmetless and helmets, only 2 have had the horns on their helmets, right?
Other than the ones we saw back in the Clone Wars.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's been the armorer and then, Super Duper Moff Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
Super Shredder.
Super Shredder. And I asked this question, though I think we kind of already talked about it, is the Darksaber truly gone? I don't think it's coming back. I don't think they're going to find that Kyber crystal and rebuild it, unless it's somebody who sneaks on some bad Mandalorian who thinks, if I resurrect this thing, if I rebuild it, then I can lay claim to Mandalore. I could see that maybe being a thing.
Yeah, maybe it's like on a trophy shelf somewhere.
Yeah.
Asajj Ventress shows up as a ninja assassin and takes it.
You want her to show up so badly.
They wouldn't be able to do her in live action. That's like the Darth Maul's apprentice in the sequel trilogy Lucas wanted to do. Like, wasn't she like some super
she was
sexy,
highly sexual
something? Yeah,
highly sexual. Yeah, what was her name? God damn it, I can't remember her name.
Can't remember.
Yes, but she's very sexualized. She looks like a T-shirt for a heavy metal band or something.
Yeah.
What characters will we see return for season 4? So like Cobb, for instance, Cobb Vanth. We saw him in the back to tank at the end of Book of Boba. We didn't see him in season 3, which I thought we might. He's got to come back at some point. Why else would you show him in the back to tank?
Yeah, if we're not, and even if there's a Book of Boba Fett season 2 coming, it's not coming before season 4. And if we've got running and gunning mission of the week, why not go back to Tatooine, right? I mean, Pelly's always his go-to for something. So if he's there, he's going to run into them. They're going to have a side mission for him, and then we'll see what's going on with Cobb. We'll get a little Boba and Fennec.
Yep, I think so.
I think we'll learn that Cad Bane isn't dead.
Right, because his thing was blinking. That's the theory.
Right.
The system was still working. Mm-hmm. Is he still alive, even though he took that bullet? I think he could return. I mean, I don't think we'll see Luke in this series again. I don't think we'll see him in season 4.
Right.
I don't know that we would see Ahsoka, maybe, but unless they're trying to tie it long term into what's going to happen in the movie, perhaps.
Yeah.
We'll obviously see Peli. I would assume we'll see Peli again.
Yeah. Well, I think after Ahsoka, Thrawn is going to be around a bit more. Even if we see Thrawn through holograms or through someone else, like he's going to be like
That's
the
true.
wizard, he's pulling the strings on the next villain until Moff shows back up. Let's say he does, right? Yeah. So I can see Ahsoka running around through there as well. And I think I like the idea, but I'm the Jedi guy, right? Like I want to see more of that. So if they
angry Jedi guy.
Yep. And if they're, if they do pursue the Jedi stuff for Grogu again, then, those will kind of intersect a little bit more without them staying in their own shows.
True. I mean, I could even see them doing with Ahsoka and or Bo doing like the holo appearances, like where they're just talking to Mando about giving him an update, kind of some exposition on something that's happening somewhere else.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. Because I was thinking would any of the other Mandalorians show up again or would he visit them? Possible. Will we see them show up? Oh, I asked this question kind of already, but will we see the Dins show up in Ahsoka and or Skeleton Crew? I don't think Skeleton Crew, even though they did have connection to that Vane guy, that pirate, and that guy is going to be in Skeleton Crew. I think that's going to be a totally separate thing.
Well, we saw that Jude Law is a Jedi in that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of gives a reason to show up. So, unless he dies in it. And then who
Jude
do they
Law?
fucking answer to? Yeah.
I could see him sacrificing himself for the kids in the end.
But Jude Law can, but you're going to have him, you're going to have Ahsoka, you're going to have Ezra, who maybe just went the Luke Skywalker route and decided to call himself Master Jedi because he's been on his own so long and he's grown up.
Nobody's there to tell him not. Yeah.
Right. So I figure he's going to probably need a little bit more school and training, some advice or whatever. So one of those two characters. Also, that'll be a really cool scene to see Ezra and Grogu meet.
Yes, that would be cool. They will easily be able to communicate because we know how Ezra can communicate with all living creatures.
Right. Yeah. I want to see what's the droid's name? The murderous Topper?
IG-11?
No.
Chopper. You want to see Chopper. Well, Chopper's going to be in that show for sure. You want to see Chopper meet Grogu?
Yeah, I want to see him just like, I don't like this little green guy. Just start fucking like he's just shooting at him all the time.
Could you see Chopper and IG-11 together? Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's going to deputize Chopper, and they're just going to run the streets of Navarro.
Fucking lay waste to the entire Outer Rim. I think that was all I had on my list. The only other thing I was going to ask you is, will Din ever lose his virginity? Because let's be honest, he's never had it.
Oh, yeah. He's going to go back to that lady on episode 3.
Omira?
Like, I take my helmet off now.
I think that's in play. Her name's Omira. I think that's in play. I mean, a lot of people were trying to kind of put him and Bo together. I don't know if that's going to happen necessarily. I feel like they're more a family than a couple.
No, he's gonna take Bo there to get her jealous. They're gonna play like a whole season of like, will they, won't they? And he's like, well, I can't with you. And
Omira's like, so wait, she can take her helmet off. You still can't? What the fuck is going on with this shit?
So she starts making out with Bo.
She's right.
Like, I'm a
just
2%er.
Get Mando jealous.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you see Mando's head, like they're getting it on. You see Mando's helmet fly off, and he's like, "What the hell?" And you look over, and Grogu's used the Force to help him out.
Yeah.
I also could see it being Peli, because he could just be free. She can show him all the ropes.
Oh my God!
She slept with all sorts of different characters.
You can't start off with a pro like that.
No, I think that's good because she doesn't care how bad you are new to it. You don't have to feel bad about it. She's going to show you all the ropes.
Yeah, she doesn't mind the hair in her mouth or anything. So that's true.
You can do whatever you want. Or Cobb. You think he'll have sex with Cobb?
I think there's a lot of people who would want to see that.
I think there are. They were kind of eyeing each other a lot in that series.
I mean, you give those two enough spotchka and anything's going to happen.
I think it could happen. Yeah. Oh, man. Fucking funny. That's all I had, unless you had anything else on Mando.
No.
All right. Well, you know what it's time for?
It's time to give away something.
Yes. I was going to say a couple things. One, we have 195 entries. Thank you, everybody, for all that. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to make this call before we do the drawing is a couple of times, I think maybe twice in our giveaways, it's been a person with, I think, one entry who's won.
Yeah.
So even if you have one entry, two entries, you got a shot here. So that's something. We'll give away the rifle as the first place. We'll give away merch for second and third place, some of our new merch. You'll get to choose what you want there.
Mike Laybourne, if you win third place, we'll give you your merch item, and I'll give you Cole's phone number.
Oh, shit. I'll never forget the time you said that on air, and he was like, I can't believe you just did that.
I did that to Grant, didn't I? I gave Grant's phone number.
Yeah, well, I don't remember that. I just remember I did the Cole's phone number, and I bleeped it out so you could hear it. I think you go like 592 beep, or whatever. He was so mad at you for a split second, like he thought it was already too late. Like you couldn't edit it out.
Such a stinker.
This has happened once before, so just to throw it out there. If for any reason, this is much like a Miss America pageant, the first place person cannot fulfill their duties. No, but if for any reason the person who wins, for whatever reason, does not want to accept the award because it has happened before, or the prize, then we will bump that down to second place and we'll swap them. So
all right.
All right. So we got 195. You're going to get a random number generator out. The first person we're going to call is the first place rifle.
Oh, we're giving the rifle away from the top.
I think you start with the rifle, don't you? Or do you want to start? Do you want to do it last?
I think we do it last, because if we give away a rifle now, then we get the winner, and then no one gives a fuck about the merch or whatever. They're going to leave us.
Well, the only reason why it plays a little bit as a disadvantage to somebody with a lot of entries is they might get called too early. But hey.
Okay. Well, what do you want to do? I will let you decide.
You made the choice.
Okay.
Let's go backward order. Third place, you get any merch you want out of our new merch store.
Right now, Mike Laybourne's cussing at me.
Give me a number.
All right. We are going with number 98.
Ooh, way down the list. Oop, hold on. I got to scroll.
We need like a roll number.
Ro from the Scare of Scuttlebutt podcast. He just sent us an audio clip last week. So congratulations, Ro. I'm going to have to mark this down. So Ro. Okay. All right.
Any relation to Ray?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We need a laugh track there.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. No. Sorry. Second place. Number.
74.
74. The Max Rebo Experience.
Oh, I like this.
That's Cole in disguise.
Yeah.
You get some merch. Okay, and now for the big dog, the big prize, I got to say it one more time, the correct way. The Mandalorian Pulse Rifle Nerf. I did it. I fucked it up. You get what I mean. Number?
Okay, if it's, let's see.
You know who deserves it? I mean, everybody does, but do you know who deserves it?
Who?
Brian Hour.
Brian Hour. Yeah, that's true. Okay, if Brian Hour wins it, right? You have to take the centerfold picture with it.
No! I'll send him something special.
Here we go. 31.
31. Who's it going to be? Annalise!
Annalise won it?
Annalise. She had one entry. Annalise
That's
wins
fucking
the
awesome.
fucking rifle. Way to go, Annalise.
Yeah. Oh, man. You know Neil's going to want that in his butt like come Monday.
Oh, of course. He's Mr. Butt Stuff guy. Yeah, absolutely. He will do that. Oh, my God. Congratulations, Annalise. Congratulations, Max Rebo Experience and Ro, and everybody else who participated. Really appreciate it. We'll do another giveaway the next time. So for the Ahsoka series, come August.
Yep. So the giveaway will probably be September, October. It'll be in October.
Yeah, somewhere around there, but it'll start. We'll probably start it a little bit early with our preview episode and all that kind of stuff that we do. So that'll be the next giveaway. But thanks, everybody, for participating. You can still participate in our question of the week and all that stuff as we go because that's a lot of fun for us. So please do that.
Yeah, we're going to try weekly. So we want content from you, and we'll give you content from us.
That's right.
That's it, right? Wrapping it up. All right, listeners, thank you for listening. We'll see you hopefully next week. So until next time.
Laugh it up, fuzzballs.
Good. We have spoken.